Hey everyone, this is Shannon with Smoking the Wild, and on this episode, I'm going to show you how I make venison summer sausage. Easy to follow recipe. Stay tuned because we're fixing to get wild. Ah, there he is right there. All right, let's jump right into this. You know, I hear a lot of guys over the years talk about, man, I really wish I knew how to make summer sausage. Man, I'd love to be able to do that. And it's as if people think that you have to have some special powers in order to make summer sausage, deer sausage, and that's just not the case. It is so stinking easy to do this. Now, today I am making jalapeno summer sausage from a kit that I actually bought from Cabela's/Bass Pro. There's a link in the description so you can get this exact kit. It comes with the seasoning, the maple cure, as well as the casings, all right? If you want to just go by the instructions, fantastic. But as always, here on Smoking the Wild, I always use a recipe as a guide, but I always add my own twist to it. If you've watched any of our episodes, you know that I'm a huge fan of the Bearded Butcher Hollywood blend, so much so that I actually buy it in bulk. There's also a link in the description if you're interested in that product. Now, on the back here, this entire kit, by the way, is designed for 25 pounds of meat. I'm doing 9 pounds today. And on the back here, it actually has instructions of how much seasoning and the cure per pound of meat. The way you're going to make this real simple is make sure you get you a good quality, inexpensive, food grade scale. You weigh out your meat, you do a little bit of math, and you'll know exactly how much seasoning and cure you're going to need. So what I've done is, based on 9 pounds of meat, I've divvied out half of it is going to be the seasoning that came in the kit. The other half of it's going to be the Bearded Butcher Hollywood blend. I've got the amount of the maple cure that I'm going to need. I'm also going to add some granulated garlic and some frozen chives. Now, the meat I'm going to be using today, it's kind of cool because the beef that I'm going to use actually came from the historic Drummond Ranch, beef that was born and raised on that ranch, as well as some deer meat from a deer that I was very fortunate to shoot on the same ranch. So it's really kind of a Drummond Ranch type summer sausage, which I'm pretty excited about. I've also, and there'll be a link to this as well, I've ordered some high temp sharp cheddar cheese that we're going to be adding to this. And the casings that came in the kit, I've already pre-soaked them for about 25 minutes in warm water. I've used a plate to weight down the casings so they get fully submerged. They're ready to go. And I've also got my water, purified water, pre-portioned out, and I've got some left over in case I'm not happy with the how much liquid's on there. And all we're going to do is combine all this together, so let's get started. All right, I've got the meat in my sterilized meat lug. You know, again, I've got this smoked ground venison that if you haven't seen that video about how I do that, there's a link in the description. But, you know, this has been on the freezer for a while, and now I've defrosted it, I've opened it up. Man, I wish you could smell the smokiness and that granulated garlic that's already in there that's coming out of this. That by itself is going to make this summer sausage taste fantastic. So now that I've got the ground beef and the ground venison in here, I'm going to use the mixers that God gave me. I've gloved up. I'm going to get in here and I'm going to mix all this up, and then we're going to get to adding the spices. So you just get in here and just start mixing away, get it thoroughly mixed up. All right, now that I've got it thoroughly mixed together in this meat lug, I'm just going to kind of spread it out because we're about ready to start adding the spices. All right, now we've got this meat evenly dispersed in the bottom of this meat lug, and now it's time to add the spices. So if you'll check with the instructions, it says right here, we're going to add the cure and the mix to the meat, and then we're going to slowly add some of the water, and then after we get that in there, we're going to mix it up, and it's going to get really tacky. Then we're going to be ready to stuff the casings. All right, we're going to start off with the seasoning that actually came with the kit, and we're just going to evenly disperse it amongst the meat. Again, splaying it out like this will make it easier to mix together. All right, there's that. Then we've got the Bearded Butcher Hollywood blend. We're going to do the same thing. All right. Get that evenly dispersed. All right. Boy, that smells good. Then I'm going to take some of this granulated garlic. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to take the maple cure that came with the kit and evenly disperse that. All right. Get that over there. Woo-wee. All right. There we go. Now, this is a 1 pound package of high temp cheddar cheese. And I'm just going to go ahead and put the whole pound in here. All right, we got the cheese added. Now what we're going to do is take the water. I've got it pre-measured out. I'm not going to add quite of it. It's easier to add it than it is to take it out. All right. And then we're going to get it here and mix all this up. Again, the meat is going to be tacky. All right, you just get in here and mix it thoroughly. All right, I've got one last secret ingredient before we start stuffing the casings. As I told you, I'm always about adding twist. So I've decided to add a 12-ounce jar of roasted New Mexico hatch green chili that I've taken my little mini colander and I've kind of drained it off in the sink. And I'm just going to disperse this. All right, I know this is a jalapeno kit. To be honest with you, there's really not that much kick to it. So I'm going to add that and get to mixing. Then we're going to stuff it in the casings. All right, I've got the roasted green chilies already mixed in there. I've already C-clamped my sausage stuffer to our little island here in our kitchen. Now all's left to do is add the meat to the stuffer container, and we're going to grab the casings and get to stuffing. So it's real simple. You just, if a little bit of meat flies around, that's all right. We've got dogs, they'll clean it up. Just get that full and add it to the stuff. All right, I decided to turn my sausage stuffer a different direction. So we've got a pre-soaked casing, all right? And you just take it over that chute, all right? It's not hard. And you're just gonna start cranking and it'll seal. We'll start filling it. You can see, you just kind of gauge. It'll kind of force it along. You kind of grab the casing lightly and the pressure will force it in there. After you do this 1 or 2 times, you'll get the hang of it. When you get to the end, look at there, even distribution. You back it off. Well, let's add a little bit more. We get to the end. All right, let's back it off. Kind of reverse the crank, pull it off of there, and you'll see, and then you just kind of crimp the end. That's all there is to it. All right, we've got 1 summer sausage casing filled. We're gonna put it in the lug. All right, we're done stuffing the casings. You'll see here in this other meat lug, I've got 3 extremely large casings stuffed full. We're gonna stick this in the fridge, let it stand up overnight. Then we're gonna fire up the HastyBake on low and slow. I'm not gonna add any wood to it. I'm gonna try to reduce as much smoke as I possibly can because remember, I've already got the smoked ground venison already in here, so we've got the smoked flavor. We're gonna put it on the HastyBake at low and slow. Stay tuned. Last step is we're just gonna roll these around a little bit to kind of get some of the air out, all right? And then you can take this and kind of jam it to the end like that. Kind of presses that, kind of seals it at the end. All right, here we are the very next day. The summer sausage has been in the refrigerator overnight. You can see them right there. It's good and firmed up. I've got the HastyBake fired up. We're gonna try to keep the temperature around 180 to 200, maybe 210 degrees. It doesn't really matter. I do want to do as low and slow as I possibly can, but we're going to cook this summer sausage to an internal temperature of 160 degrees by using I'm going to be using, once again, my Bearded Butcher's meat thermometer, which if you recall, and if you haven't seen that video, there's a link in the description on how to cook perfect meat, and we talk about cooking to internal temperature. It's in the description. So we're gonna get this summer sausage, because it's venison, to an internal temperature of 160 degrees. Gonna try to control the temperature on the HastyBake, which is easy to do, but we're gonna cook it to the internal temperature, and then we'll go to the next step. I do have one little final housekeeping. These strings come on these casings, okay? Some people have can cookers, can smokers that have racks on them to where you literally can hang your sausage like that vertically. The HastyBake doesn't work that way, so this string really isn't necessary, so I'm just gonna take some scissors and I'm just gonna cut the string off. It's just something to catch on fire or burn, There's no need to have it. It gets in the way. You can't eat it. I mean, I guess you can, but I wouldn't recommend it. All right, so now we've got this ready to go. The HastyBake's ready to go. Let's get this summer sausage on there, and then I'll show you the next step after that. All right, you'll notice I've got the HastyBake holding at 200 degrees. All right, we're gonna go ahead and take these casings of summer sausage. I'm gonna go ahead and put these on the top rack for now. I'll transfer them to the lower rack, but we're going for low and slow. Again, remember, you'll notice there's not a lot of smoke coming out of this HastyBake. That's on purpose, because I don't want to put a whole lot of smoke because I'm using the smoked ground venison. I smoked the fat prior to processing all this on this particular HastyBake. So I got enough smoke in there. There'll still be some smoke, but you'll notice it's not smoking real heavy, and that's on purpose. We'll come back to it in a little while and we'll temp it. It's gonna take a while, but low and slow. All right, it's time to make sure, let's see where we're at with the internal temperature. Let's take our Bearded Butcher meat thermometer, let's probe it. We are at 128.7 degrees, 0.8 degrees internal temperature. I'm gonna go ahead and close this. Keep in mind, we're aiming for 160 degrees internal temperature. If I'm guessing, we've got about another 45 minutes to go. All right. Let's check this summer sauce. Woo-wee! My goodness. Let's probe it. All right. We're about 162 degrees, but that's okay. I'm gonna check it one other place. Yeah, we got about a little over, a tip or two over, but that's all right. So we're gonna put this meat lug and we're gonna pull them off. Summer sausage, I just pulled it out of the fridge. It's been there overnight. It's good and firmed up. And let me tell you something, that pretty right there. And I wish you were here to smell how amazing this stuff smells. Guys, this is so easy to do that anybody, including you, can do it. And you don't have to use deer meat like we do. You can make it out of beef. I already mixed some Drummond Ranch beef in this. You could do all beef. You could do any protein, any meat that you want. It's so stinking easy to do. Now, before we go further, I want to give you another little tip that I do. I take some warm to lukewarm water and I put it on a paper towel. And even though no one's going to be eating the casing, all right, I still wipe it down, then take a dry paper towel, dry it off, clean it up, make it look nice. It's not as oily that way, and it just makes it better down the road. Now, let me tell you what I've got. I've got my vacuum sealer and my bags ready to go. I've got my food scale, and I even have a yardstick. Now, I'm gonna go country boy on here for a minute. So I know for a fact that each one of these casings weighs 3 pounds because I weighed them already. I did that before I put them in the fridge. So I wanna make half-pound freezer bags, vacuum seal bags, half-pound portions. So I'm just gonna do some math. I'm gonna take some measurements, and it's not gonna be an exact science, but I'm gonna do as dang near as good a job as I can do, making sure that it's as close to half a pound per bag. And that's what I choose to do. You do it how you want. All right, come on in, let's show you how it's done. All right, I've got one of the casings laid down here, and it is right at 16 inches. Well, if I was doing 1 pound, I would do 16 divided by 3. That's 5.33 inches. So I will go in here and kind of make a mark, a score, because that would represent if I'm doing, and we'll do it at about 10 or so. Again, this isn't exact science, but that's if I was doing 1 pound packages. But again, I'm doing half pound. It's not an exact science, but I'm going to split the difference. All right, and I'll bet you money these are all going to be pretty close to being a half a pound a piece. There's only one way to find out. Look at that. Look at that high temp cheddar cheese in there. Don't that pretty? You can see the jalapeno. You can actually see some of the green chili. I mean, don't that pretty. But back to work. So let's measure that, or let's weigh it. And it's 9 ounces. So there's 16 ounces into a pound. So that's a little bit more than a half a pound, but that's okay. It's not an exact science. Getting pretty close. That's how I do it. All right. So again, these are not quite half pound. Some of them are a little bit more, some of them are a little less, but you get the point. Again, look at that right there. Don't that pretty. So we're going to drop it down into the vacuum seal bag, just like that. We're going to open up the vacuum sealer, get it in this channel. Watch this. Boom, done. It's gonna preserve the freshness. That'll keep for a very long time in the freezer. They're done. All right, I'm almost done here. I've got just a few more packages to vacuum seal, but I've got a fair amount here of these half-pound packages. And the biggest reason why I do this is, one, it stretches it out. Two, I don't know about you, but I'm probably never gonna sit down and eat an entire pound of venison summer sausage. I don't know too many people that would. It's pretty rich. But another thing is, come deer season of 2022, I can throw one of these in my backpack and I can eat on that for hours. And so it makes a great snack. And plus it allows me to share it with family members and close friends, and it just makes it easier. Plus vacuum sealing this, these will last a very long time in the freezer. Now one last thing before we get to the tasting part, which is my favorite part, I want to let you know I actually forgot to add the freeze-dried chives. And that's perfectly okay. I've made it with chives and I've made it without. Either way is absolutely fantastic. So I've already cut off a piece of this summer sausage, venison summer sausage, and let's take a bite. Oh, man. That's absolutely unbelievable. Unlike the Dallas Cowboys, that is scoring a touchdown right there. I can taste a hint of the jalapeno, the New Mexico roasted green chili, but if you'll remember, we added sharp cheddar cheese, plus I cut the seasoning from the jalapeno kit in half and I replaced it with the Bearded Butcher's Hollywood blend, which has kind of got a sweetness to it, a little bit of tanginess to it, so it kind of neutralizes that jalapeno mix a little bit. Plus I added granulated garlic, which, believe it or not, almost adds almost a touch of sweetness to it. The balance of this is absolutely stellar. You're gonna love it when you make this for yourself. Anybody can do this, including you. And that's what we're all about here at Smoke in the Wild. Hey, I appreciate you watching. If you haven't smashed that subscribe button, I'm gonna ask you to do that today. I really appreciate all the positive feedback we've been getting from people, and I'm having a ball bringing this content to you guys. I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.